to the AP Parents Night. I always like coming here one night out of the year to talk about advanced placement. I've been very proud of the program that we've built here at DC Everest over the last 25 years. We're certainly one of the leaders in the Valley here with AP classes. Marshfield always tends to be just a little bit better than we are with their statistics in terms of the number of kids that take tests and so on, but we're right on their heels. So we do have a lot, 900 tests given, probably close to 500 kids taking tests. So the program is quite large here at Everest. You're fortunate to be in a district that cares about kids and provides rigor in the instruction. So you're here to find out a little bit more about AP. So we're going to get started. We'll start with the basics. My name is Paul Alexson. I'm a social studies coordinator. I've been here 44 years. Been involved with AP for, I don't know, close to 30. So a little bit of background. I also have the English chair here. Dawn, you want to wave? She will be talking about English, and then Scotty, we're going to beam him up and let him talk about science and math. Okay, so you'll get a little bit of everything here tonight from us about AP. Basically, how many of you have been here before, been to this meeting before? A couple of you. So I'll try to make it quick. We got 8th graders here who are going into this for the first time, unless they've had a sibling go through it. You can see that our numbers, we start with about 75 kids in the 9th grade, and then we get into 10th grade, we just open the doors for about 175 kids to take AP. They start in social studies, which is the only place that AP is offered, and then they gets tough the junior year with English and biology and more history, and then the senior year the electives get even broader and so on. So there'll be a lot of choices for your son or daughter, and you have to help them with this. Sometimes more is not, less is better than more sometimes, and you kind of have to help your child make good decisions about AP. Okay, so AP classes are really college freshman classes. That's what they are. They are basically what you would get in an introductory college class. So they are rigorous and they are difficult. Okay? So at the end of the course, your child's going to take a national standardized exam. Every kid in the country who takes AP U.S. History is taking the same exam on the same day at the same time. There's rigorous security and so on. It's unbelievable security on this stuff. But it's a standardized test, and the kids take it, and kids from Everest do quite well in all subject areas. Okay? And the last statement there is ultimately they do have an opportunity to earn college credit. And I'll talk about that later. To me, well, to you it might be the most important thing because it saves you money, but to me, the most important thing about an AP class is that it is rigorous and it prepares your son or daughter for college. So that when they get there, they don't bomb out. They get there and they go, this is no more difficult than what I had in high school. Okay? It just gets them ready. Okay. So, typical AP courses, they tend to move quite quickly. They're fast-paced, okay? This is not for the weary, okay? We still feel that a lot of kids can handle AP classes. Some can handle them as early as the freshman year, not very many. Trust me, not very many kids are ready for AP as freshmen. That's why we only have about 75 kids in there. But then as kids mature, they get to be 10th graders, and then the door opens and we have 175 kids or so taking it, and then we get into that junior year and it just goes, it just doubles, and pretty soon we got a lot of kids taking AP. So fast pace, covers the material pretty darn fast, and There's going to be more homework. That next bullet says, inside and outside of the classroom is required to complete lessons, assignments, homework. So more homework than your typical regular class, okay? So oftentimes it's probably best, you know, that freshman and sophomore year that you're only taking one AP class, which it is possible to take multiple AP classes a sophomore year because you can take more than one social studies AP class. But your son or daughter needs to be pretty darn capable if you take more than one. And then they get in that junior year, and that's when English kicks in and science, and pretty soon some of these kids are taking three. They'll take AP US, they'll take English, one of the English classes, and they'll take biology, and life gets pretty miserable if you get all three. So you just have to be careful. Some kids can handle it. Some kids should not take 3 AP classes at one time. So you have to know your son or daughter's capabilities and their work ethic. The AP classes and the AP teachers, they expect students to think critically, analyze, synthesize facts and data, weigh competing perspectives, and the last part is most important. They need to be able to write clearly and persuasively, because most of these exams have a written component. I can speak for history and English. Those tests are over 50% of those tests are writing. In the AP US history test alone, they write 3 different essays, okay? And then they have some multiple choice. So writing is clearly a major skill that your son or daughter needs to be pretty good at, okay? To be successful. Okay, so why take an AP class? Well, I'll tell you right now, the college admissions people, they'll tell you that the type of courses your son or daughter takes is pretty important. They're not all the same. Some are apples and some are pears and some are oranges. You know what I'm saying? Not every course is equal. The AP classes hold a lot more weight in the eyes of the college admissions. Honors classes hold more weight, but it's kind of a continuum from regular classes to honors classes to AP at the top. So the more AP classes that your son or daughter has on their transcript, the more the college admissions people like it, okay? So even if you don't take the test or you don't pass the test, by taking the classes and they're on your transcript, that's very helpful, okay? It says right there, 85% of college and universities report that students' AP experience favorably impacts the admissions decision, okay? AP classes go through redesigns every so many years, so they really are on the cutting edge. They've really gotten away from just facts and stuff. I mean, you really have to be able to think. Okay, thinking skills are really important, and we teach those thinking skills, analysis and contextualization and so on. The exam is very important. It's scored by faculty, college faculty and high school faculty. They get together in the summer. The tests are taken in May, and then teachers get together at a university, and it's always a combination of college professors and high school teachers, AP teachers, and they get together in June, and they lock them in a room, and they correct tests for a week, right? And it's very rigorous for the teacher, and they're called AP readers. And I'll tell you what's really fortunate is that DC Evers has several AP teachers who are readers, okay? Which means they're on the inside. They know what it takes to pass the test. They know they're correcting the tests, so they know how to teach the kids. They know what skills to teach the kids, okay? It's not like they have the answers or anything to the questions, but they know how to go about teaching the course. And we have readers all over the place, including a teacher in AP Government, teachers in AP English, teachers in Human Geography, teachers in Economics, and so on. So it's kind of neat. Okay, what does this say? So this is an international program. We have AP is accepted all over the world. We have international students taking it. There's a little quote there. At Princeton, students can use qualifying AP exams to graduate in 3 or possibly 3.5 years. One thing is advanced placement. They call it advanced placement. So the idea is that if you take an introductory course and you pass it, you get to college and you've passed AP U.S. History, they aren't going to make you take U.S. History 101 and 102. You're just going to skip that and go right to your 200 level classes. You might be able to take a class just on the Civil War. Same thing with English. You're going to take more specialized classes because you've had the basics while you were in high school. So entering upper level courses is an advantage. Foreign language, at our school, we most of the time, I think our kids just, they go off to the college and they take those tests and get placed and earn some credit that way. We don't really have AP Spanish and AP. It's just not a part of our foreign language program. Okay, so you're going to move into those upper level college courses a lot quicker. Another advantage is you might pursue a double major. I know there's quite a few kids. Leanne Key, for example, she's in genetics at Madison, and then she also has a music major. Well, she probably went there with about 40 AP credits. So it just makes it possible for a person to do a double major. Oftentimes, some kids go, oh, I've got 30 AP credits, so it's going to allow me to go abroad, and I don't have to worry about the fact that I'm not going to get my 17 credits that semester. I might only get 5, but who cares because I picked up all my I got my AP credits. So it allows you to maybe do some classes abroad, okay? This person says, as a freshman, I was able to skip general ed requirements and head straight into high-level classes. Taking AP exams literally saved me semesters of time. This girl talks about how it saved money, how she graduated from Michigan a year early in the business school, saving her $30,000. So, but these are all, you know, is that what's going to happen to your kid? Probably not. I don't know what the average student, I wish I knew how many credits they graduate with, but it can be, you know, 3 to 6 credits, or it actually can be 50 credits. I'm going to show you, this is the extreme I'm going to show you right now because I just got this email from Preston Winowitzki. He says, now you got to realize Preston just graduated. He's in his 2nd year of college. And he says, I'm going to be able to graduate after this upcoming semester because I came into college with 58 credits from AP courses and Everest dual credit Spanish, which virtually nullified my need for any general education classes and introductory courses in my major. I'm also in an accelerated program at Carroll College where I'll be getting a master's degree with 3 more semesters of classes after I earn my bachelor's degree. And that's Preston. Now, Preston was a National Merit Scholar. He's just one of those special kids. But we have a lot of those kids at Everest. It's amazing how smart our kids are. So that's on one end. The other end of the spectrum, you know, the normal end would be the kid who picks up, you know, maybe 4 AP classes and maybe picks up 16 credits. That's probably more normal. But even 16 credits, that's like a semester, right? I know my son, who was, you know, he was a good student. He was probably about a 3.75, but he had like 20, you know, close to 20 credits in some Spanish, and he graduated from Madison in 3.5 years. So it can save time and it can save money, but in the end, everything is individual. It all depends on the school you go to, and it's different for everybody, okay? What I feel is valuable with AP is that whether you get any credits or not, whether it saves you money or not, your son or daughter is going to be ready for college. Because let's face it, half the kids that go to college don't get past the first year, right? So you want your son or daughter to be successful, and they have a higher chance of being successful if they've had the rigor, okay? So that's why. That's why we take AP, okay? You take it to stand out in the admissions process. They'll look at the AP classes and they'll go, yep, this kid's ready. You might earn academic scholarship. You're definitely going to get the experience of a college level test. I mean, these stimulus-based multiple choice questions that they get are a whole lot more challenging than the old multiple choice stuff you get in a regular history class. The essays, the long essays, the DBQs, they're all writing that really, you have to use your thinking skills, you have to be organized as a writer. It's great practice before you get to college, and you're just going to be a step ahead. This is a list of things that admissions people look at when they make a decision, and the number one thing is grades in college prep classes. That's the most important thing. How did they do in those college prep AP and honors classes? Okay, that's what's important. Okay? Okay, so does it cost any money to take an AP class? No. It doesn't cost any money to take the class. Where it costs money is to take the exam. Okay, and that's the way it works. So my next slide, the fee has not changed in the last 3 or 4 years. They've been able to keep the fee steady at $94. Now a $94 test, that's a pretty good investment if your kid passes. Because if they pass the test, they're probably going to get 3 credits if it's a semester class, like an English class, or an AP Gov class, which is 3 credits. You know what 3 credits cost at UW-Stevens Point. It's a whole lot more than $94. Okay? Now, some of the classes are like AP US History, or Biology, or Physics. Those are full years, so they usually will get your son or daughter 6 credits. Okay? And as you accumulate these passing scores and get credit, it's going to save some money. It's going to save you money. Okay, so this is what it costs, $94, and the money is used for those 4 things there. I'm not going to go through that. I do need to tell you that if you are in a financial position where your son or daughter is on free or reduced lunches, then you apply to the principal, and then the school will pay for the exam. Pretty good deal. Okay, so here's the exam. So when you get a score, and some of you have other siblings or other children that have been through AP, so you know this, you're going to get a score anywhere from 0 to, I don't know if they give zeros. I don't think so. I think 1, yeah, you don't want to get a 1. 1 means there's no recommendation. 2s are not terrible. Some kids that come home with 2s and they think, oh my God, the world's going to end, I did terrible. But actually 2s are like getting a C in college. It's a good score. It's just not good enough to get you college credit, okay? It means that, hey, you came close, try again. So if you get a 2, it's not like you run away from AP. You're just not quite there yet. There will be freshmen that will get 2s, okay? Most of them, 67% of them, will get better than a 2. But that still leaves 30% of the kids that are getting 2s, okay? And it's not a terrible thing. It just means that maybe they work a little harder the next year. Or maybe they weren't mature enough yet. Or maybe they didn't realize what they were getting into and didn't study hard enough. There's all kinds of, or maybe they just had a bad day. I mean, that happens. It's a one-shot test. 3s are qualified. It's like getting a B or a low B. And it's worth college credit. And if you go to a school in the state of Wisconsin, and it's a public school, the regents have passed a rule that their schools in the Wisconsin system must give college credit for 3s. So if you're at Point or Oshkosh or Madison or any of the state schools, if you get a 3, you're going to get credit. Now, if you're in a private school like Carroll College or you're up in Minneapolis and you're going to one of the many great private schools, Hamlin and all those schools up there, Bethel and so on, Gustavus, a lot of times they may not give you credit for a 3, So I know kids are really, really working hard to get 4s and 5s, because 4s and 5s are gold. 4s and 5s, pretty much everybody gives credit for 4s and 5s. Okay? 5s are the best. That's what you're trying to get. You're trying to get a 5, and when you get a 4, you go, okay, that's pretty dang good too, right? Then you get a 3, you go, well, at least I get credit, or hopefully. Okay, so, I mean, I know I went through this. I had one kid who got a 3 in something, and they got 6 credits for U.S. history, and then the other boy went to Gustavus and got nothing for the 3. So you kind of need to, you can find all this out. You just go on the website, and you get the information from every university gets to set their own. They'll tell you, this is what we give for a 3, this is what we give for a 4, this is what we give for a 5. Okay, and they'll be very specific. In biology, they'll tell you, world history, whatever. But for every class, they'll tell you exactly. And in the colleges, half the time, they let the departments decide. So, one department might be more liberal with giving out credit than another at a school. So that's just the way it is. This is an important slide. This is really important. And as a parent, you know your son or daughter. And there's a lot of kids that get pushed into AP and they're not ready for it, and they don't have the work ethic, and then they struggle. But if you're going to be successful in AP, you need to have a willingness to actively engage with sophisticated concepts, a willingness to be judged by rigorous college level standards, a willingness to complete longer and more complex nightly assignments, a willingness to do summer assignments, and a willingness to take that darn test in May. Okay? So when your kid signs up for AP, these are our expectations. I expect every kid that comes into my class to take that exam in May. Now, there are always extenuating circumstances where you have a very small number of kids that just are misplaced. And we'll keep them in the class, and we'll do everything we can, and they might not take the exam. But most kids, like in English, you think most kids take the exam? Yeah. So, I mean, we really push that. It's really like, you signed up for this, now you need to work, okay? But the problem is a lot of sophomores, particularly sophomores and some juniors, they get pushed into AP because mom or dad says, you got to take this, it's good for you. And then if they go in and they don't do their homework, it's really a grind. So all I can say is sit down and look your kid straight in the face and say, are you going to meet these expectations? Are you going to put out your best effort? Because just because you get a letter from Mr. Abel for science, or you get a letter from me for social studies, that doesn't mean that you have to take the class. You decide, okay? And in English, it's self-selection. So a lot of the kids have already had an AP class, have already had success, and they just matriculate into English junior year, or they do really well in an English class the sophomore year, and the teacher says, you know what, you should take AP English because you did really well as a sophomore, even though they might have even been in a sophomore regular English class. There's for English, for example, you don't have to be in the honors sections to take the AP English, okay? Now, Mr. Abel will tell you that you need to be in chemistry in order to take AP biology. They don't really want kids to take it unless they've had chemistry, because they won't be successful in AP bio unless they've had chemistry their sophomore year. Okay, let's move on here. And okay, so now that was the general, I did that and that took me longer than I thought. But you got all the general stuff, okay? So now I'm going to talk specifically about social studies classes. And then Mr. Abel is going to tell you about science, and then Ms. Whitsett is going to talk about English, okay? And then we'll try to fill in the holes with math and computer science at the end. Okay, so here we go with social studies. Freshman year, a very small hand-picked group of students are invited to take AP Government. Trust me, I scrutinize over Lexile scores. I look at their grades in certain classes. I look at the recommendations. So if you got a letter, you're in the cream of the crop. Okay, you're the cream of the crop, and your kid is expected to take it and work your butt off. It will be a challenge. It will be a challenge. Okay, sophomore year, this is you guys. You get choices. There's actually 3 different classes you can pick from. One is AP Human Geography, which is not a history class. It's cultural geography. It's population figures, genocide, why people live where they live. It's geography. It's human geography. Okay, taught by Mr. Greil. That's one choice. Then there's 2 other choices that are history classes. One's world history, and the other is European history. The difference is European history is just Europe, whereas world history is everything. Okay, so if you want something where you're just kind of get the main ideas of world history, or do you want to really dig into European? Okay, excuse me. Both of those 2 classes are year-long, and they're worth 6 credits, whereas human geography is a year-long, but it's only gets you 3 credits of college board credits. So that's your choices as a sophomore, and I gave you you got the handout from the teachers. There's a 3-page handout. Every course is explained. You pick one of them and you sign up. Okay, if you have questions about it, you can talk to me afterwards. Okay, then the junior year comes along and everybody takes AP US History. There's no other choices. You're just taking AP US History. Okay? Then juniors and sophomores can actually take economics or comparative politics, where you compare 6 different countries' politics to that of the United States, or macroeconomics. Those are offered to sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Okay? Psychology is only offered to juniors and seniors. Okay? So we actually have 8 AP classes in social studies, so it gets a little complicated. It is possible to double up your sophomore year with AP Human and economics, or AP Human and what would the other one be? Comparative politics, or the world history and the European one, either one of those. If your son or daughter, right here I'm talking to, if your son or daughter took AP Gov, they already have a really good background in government, so I would suggest the comparative politics somewhere after that. And then I'm also going to push economics, because if you took AP Gov, and this, you guys listen here because it's you also, when you take AP Gov as a freshman, you do not get any economics. Everybody else is getting 9 to 12 weeks of economics in a class called American Institutions. So an AP Gov kid never got any economics, which is kind of important to have some economics before you get to college, especially if you go into the business world. Plus, the AP Economics class meets the graduation financial literacy requirement. Do you know what that is? Raise your hand if you don't know what the financial literacy requirement is. 1, 2, 3, okay. So to graduate from DC Everest, you have to take 1 financial literacy class. And you know what that means? It's like you need to understand money, you need to understand stocks and banking, writing checks, all the stuff that financial literacy, and there are 5 classes in the school curriculum. You got to take one of those 5. 2 of them are in social studies. One is the AP class. So if you're a really super bright kid and you're smart and you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, you take AP macroeconomics and you knock off your financial literacy. Other kids will take just the regular economics and finance class that's in social studies. There's also one in FACE, and there's one in business, and there's one in math. Okay. I kind of got off track there, but it's important if you didn't know what that was. was. Okay, so the senior year, these classes are fairly popular. A lot of times kids can't fit them in their schedule till the senior year. Sometimes they'll take these as early as sophomore year. But a lot, you just gotta, I'll give you a tip. You need to start figuring out not just what you're taking next year as a sophomore, but figure out what you're taking as a junior and senior. Now it'll change, but get a plan so that you can fit your AP English in and your AP Math in and your AP Science, kind of figure it out, okay? Because otherwise, you get to your senior year and you go, holy crap, I still want to take this, and this, and oh, I should have done that before, oh well. So plan, okay? So there's your AP Psych. Great, lot of seniors in AP Psych. A lot of seniors. A lot of seniors in the AP Macroeconomics as well. And then comparative politics is a wide range, sophomores, juniors, seniors. Okay, any questions about social studies? Because I'm going to turn the mic over to my science guy here and I'll never get it back. He's as bad as me. He talks a lot. He's just like me. He's like a clone. Not quite. Not quite. I know he's going to say I'm worse. Okay, here you go. Science.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Abel, Science Coordinator for the district. No, there's two sides. All right. So anyways, good evening, everybody.
More social studies.
I'm the science guy for the district. Been here a long time. Paul did a great job talking about all the benefits of the AP program. I'll reiterate just everything that he had to say, both as a district employee that's been in the science program for a long, long time. I see the benefits. We've helped shape the science program so that kids are able to maximize the value of what we have to offer. But I can also attest to the AP program's benefit as a parent. One of my kids is in college, and he told me just the other day that he was able to shave off about a semester and a half worth of college courses because of the AP credits that he went into school with. So when you say, wow, a full semester, that's pretty good. Even if you're not able to shave off a full semester, let's say you just get a couple of courses, that still lightens your load while you're in college. And there's benefit to that. That gives you opportunity to take some other classes that you may not otherwise. It may lighten your load so that you can focus on the coursework that you do have. So there are all kinds of benefits, even if you aren't able to shave off, as some of the examples were a year or two. Those are the real extreme examples. But it's a great program. Curricular benefits, the rigor is much more intense than our regular courses, so the kids are much greater prepared when they do go off to college than if they hadn't taken these kinds of classes. Let me tell you about what we have to offer in the science program, specifically for courses. In the world of AP, there are generally four classes that are offered. There's AP Biology. That is our big one here at DC Everest. This year we have over 100 students taking that class. It's the most that we've ever had. That's a quarter of that class, which is, and the kids are doing great. That's one of the hardest tests that AP offers. When you look at the statistics nationwide, that's one of the most challenging, rigorous courses. Nearly all of the kids that take the class, nearly, not everyone, but nearly every one of the kids that takes the class takes the AP exam, and they come out with 3, 4s, and 5s. There are a handful of kids, like Paul said, where they might be in a little over their head, and they get to that point, they're like, I'm not sure I'm going to take that test. And that's okay. They still have had the benefit of going through a very rigorous curriculum and a very rigorous college prep course. So you have AP Biology, AP Physics. Those are our two big ones here. Once in a while, we have enough interest to run AP Chemistry and the AP Environmental Science. Let me tell you about the process of getting to the AP Biology, considering that's our most popular course. Up on the top, you'll see the sequence for the traditional or the typical sequence of courses that kids take in science at DC Everest. In order to graduate from high school in the state of Wisconsin, DCFs, you need 3 science credits. You need 9th grade physical science, you need a biology, and you need some other credit. The physical science and biology are required by state law and by, obviously, our district policy, okay? Most students take that top sequence where they take 9th grade physical science, 10th grade biology, 11th grade chemistry. That's key. If you haven't had any kids go through high school before, or if you haven't been to college, chemistry is key. Without chemistry, you can't go to college. That is just, there's some interesting history behind that. I'll spare you the details of that boring history lesson, although history is great, Mr. Alex. You have to have chemistry. So about 85 to 90% of our kids take chemistry while they're at DCFs. If you want to go to NTC, you don't have to have chemistry for all their programs. Some of them you do. Going to the nursing program, you have to have high school chemistry. So nearly all of our kids take chemistry sometime while they're here at DCFs. Then many of those kids go on to take physics. We have a real extraordinarily high number of kids that take physics while they're in coming out of DCFs. We have just about 2 full-time science teachers that teach physics all day. That's really unheard of, which is highly, highly recommended by most of your universities. As Paul was saying before, when universities start looking at college applications, they look for the high-level courses. They look for the APs, the honors. They also look for, did you have high school physics? We have 3 different levels of physics, which is really nice and flexible for kids. I'm not going to get into the details of what those look like. You'll find all that information in the course selection book, as well as the green handout that I would imagine most of you picked up. These on the front of this handout, so this is the only science handout that there is, but if you look at the front, it gives you some information about the honors courses that we have, AP, dual enrollment. We have 1 dual enrollment, human biology. Kids can pick up a credit through NTC with that class. And then on the back side, I printed off all of the course descriptions for our AP classes. You'll see these again when you get the course description guide, but to help you start thinking ahead, I thought it might be helpful to see the descriptions there. That's the typical on the top, the typical sequence of courses that most of our students take. On the bottom is what we call the advanced science course sequence. And what you'll see is you still have 9th grade physical science or honors physical science, whichever one you're in. Doesn't make any difference moving ahead. Students that received a letter from me over Christmas break saying, hey, you're one of our top science students. We've got a really awesome program. You might want to consider it. Here's what it's about. It is a rigorous program. What that does, and if you didn't get that letter, and you think, hey, I'd really like to take AP biology, it's open to everyone. So it isn't like, oh, I didn't meet the requirement. If you didn't get the AP biology letter from Scott Abel and your kid, or guys that are here, if you're really interested in taking that class as a junior, that's when the AP kicks in for science, at the junior and senior year. You have my contact information on the green sheet. Give me an email, send me an email, give me a call, and I'll sit down. I'll have a long conversation with you, and I'll pull up all your records, and we'll say, hey, what math class are you in? Are you ready for chemistry as a sophomore? Maybe you want to wait. Where are your study skills? What are you all involved with outside of school? Do you have a part-time job? Are you in athletics? And we'll help make a decision together, and it's entirely up to you. So if you didn't get one of those letters from me, stick around if you're interested. I'll give you a copy of it. I just want to make sure, like Paul said before, kids aren't getting in over their head, because that AP biology, the junior year, is actually a 2-credit, 2-period class. It's one of our few block classes that we have. And the reason for that is many schools will require that you take Intro to Bio, followed by a 2nd year of AP biology. And sometimes those 2 classes are spread over the course of 3 different years. You'll take Intro Sophomore Bio, Then your senior year, you would take AP Bio. Well, what do you do in the middle as a junior? You're missing this continuum of keeping with it. What we did many years ago is we combined our 2 classes in intro and AP into one class. And our kids are finding fantastic success with that. I'll spare you the details of why we did that and what it all means. But we found that it's working really, really well for kids, to the point where I know other high schools around the state are starting to do what we've done. Some high schools will spread it over the course of 2 years. Some will spread it over 2 years and separate it with a year in the middle. We said, no, let's just do it all at the same time. What that means, and you need to know this, students, is that on your schedule, 2 periods out of every day for the full year will be occupied by AP Biology. For example, your schedule might have AP Biology period 1, period 2, it's still there. So students come to school, you go to first period, at the end of first period, the bell rings, you hear kids walking out in the hall, you'll probably take a break, go get a drink, go get a granola bar from your locker or something, come back for round 2. And the way that that class is designed, it goes fast. How many of you are here at the high school already? Show of hands. How many? You're all, okay. You have an experience, yeah, you're all current freshmen. You have an experience, we have block classes once a month. We've got one coming up this week, Thursday and Friday. So AP Biology does that every day. Some high schools do that with their entire school schedule. We do it with a couple of courses. It works great. Most of the kids that take the AP Bio test come out with college credit. Sometimes kids will grumble and they'll say, oh man, I took AP Biology and I didn't realize how much work it's going to be. Because what they sometimes do is compare it with, oh, I've got an hour of homework in AP Biology and I've got only a half an hour of homework every night in one of my other one credit classes. And they forget that this is actually a 2-credit, 2-period class that's been combined. So they overlook the fact when they get into it that, yeah, this is really 2 classes that I'm taking right now. So you have to keep that in mind for your junior year if you want to take that AP Bio. Do you have to take AP Bio if you take chemistry as a sophomore? Because like Paul said, you have to have chemistry before you take AP Biology. So you'll see that they're a little bit out of sync. We take the chemistry and we put that at the sophomore year. And most of the kids take honors chemistry. It's faster, it's more in depth. Because you need to have the depth in order to take the AP Biology. AP Biology is loaded with chemistry. And if you don't have a strong chem background, you're going to struggle. So you have to take honors chemistry your 10th grade year, biology, or AP Biology, I should say, your junior year. Once in a while, we get a handful of kids that start that. They get to their sophomore year. It gets to be this time of year, and they're like, I don't want to take AP Biology in my junior year. Do I have to stick with it? We encourage students to do that, but you don't have to. There are a handful of kids that say, you know, I'm a 3-season athlete, I've got a part-time job, I really don't have time to take that, I want to take these other courses. Then what you do is you simply sign up for general biology as a junior. Most of the students in general biology are sophomores, and once in a while you'll find a real advanced junior in one of those classes, and they do extraordinarily well because they still have to have a biology class in order to graduate. Then AP Physics is, whoops, there's that button, Paul. There we go. AP Physics, we usually have somewhere around 30 kids that take AP Physics, and that's a calculus-based course. A lot of the kids that take that are headed off into engineering. Not all of them, but many of them are. Sometimes we get enough kids to double up and take an AP Chemistry their senior year as well. So, any questions with AP Biology, AP Physics? Those are the 2 that we run just about every year. All right, English. This is what Liz was. There you go.
Hi. I'll try to make this short and sweet, but incidentally, I'll start with the fact that a bunch of my students contacted me that graduated this past year from DC Everest with a lot of AP credits to tell me of an unknown benefit. They got to buy Rose Bowl tickets as sophomores and juniors and sit in the front row instead of the nosebleed section like the rest of the freshmen. So obviously, state requires you to have 4 years of English. So there's several choices for you. In grade 9, you can take English 9, or you can take Honors English 9. And if you're thinking of going the AP track, the Honors track will give you just a little bit more rigor, a little bit more reading, a little bit more depth in your reading and analysis. And then in grade 10, you also, again, have the choice of taking English 10 or Honors English 10. And again, on the Honors track, similar material, similar standards, but just to a little bit deeper level of writing and reading and analysis, which would help prepare you if you do want to take the AP track. But again, it's not mandatory because it's a self-select. So if you take regular English 9 and you like it, you might want to try the Honors for 10. But even if you've taken regular English 9 or English 10, and then you think, you know, I think I'm going to challenge myself, your junior year, you can take AP Language and Composition. AP Language and Composition, if you look at the handout, is a nonfiction-based class where we do rhetorical analysis and really the study of rhetoric and persuasion. We read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, A Rumor of War, and then a lot of choice reading for nonfiction. So it is really a nonfiction-based class. It's a great class for going into any major in college because it's really just basic analysis, rhetoric, and writing. And then you could take American Studies as well, or regular English 11. And again, you don't have to have been in honors to take AP Language, and you don't have to take AP Language to take AP Literature and Composition, which is the senior level AP course. You don't have, there is no series, it's a self-select. So I have students in AP Lit right now that did not take AP Language, they took E11, and they are doing perfectly well because they just decided it was time to challenge themselves a little bit. But the other possibility is, if you take E11 your junior year, you could take AP Language your senior year. It's just a step up from what E11 was, so you'll find some similar material, but it is an option if people want to do it that way. Maybe feel a little bit more comfortable. So again, your sophomore year, you have a choice of English 10 or English 10 Honors. Really, those are your only two choices. They're both year-long classes, and they both cover, like I said, similar material, but definitely to a greater depth in honors. And so, a little bit more reading, a little bit more writing in honors than in regular E10. Grade 11, as I said, you can take English 11, which is a full year course, or you can take AP Language and Composition or American Studies. So again, you've got several choices to cover. Now, I talked to Mr. Rather today, and he told me that he would like to have everybody take E11 or AP Lang as an equivalent, but quite frankly, I think we cover a lot of the same standards in those classes. But again, AP Language and Composition, rigorous, prepares you for not only the test, but for pretty much anything college would throw at you as far as nonfiction. Your senior year, so scheduling AP Language is, as I said, writing and language, nonfiction, recommended your junior year. But if you feel like, I'm not maybe sure I'm ready for my junior year, you can certainly wait and take that your senior year instead. Grade 12, finally. We have a couple of choices. AP Language and Composition would be if you're following that honors track and you take like Honors 9, Honors 10, AP Lang, and then your senior year would be AP Literature and Composition. Now, AP Literature and Composition is a fiction-based class where we read dramas, novels, and poetry. It's a really in-depth analysis of literature. And so typically that is your senior year because it is a fairly intensively rigorous as far as putting you into an area where you have to come up with your own ideas, not just listen to what the teacher said and then put it on the test. we make you actually think. It's a good time, actually. And so, again, it is fiction, poetry, and drama. And again, the prerequisites are just that you have a senior standing and that you've taken any of the E10, E9, and either English 11 or AP Language and Composition. Are there any questions on the English? I know I went through it quickly. Excellent, thank you.
Mr. Hoffman isn't here tonight, so I'll tell you a little bit about what's offered AP for the Tech Ed department. There's one course that is offered, it's AP Computer Science Principles. It's one of the business classes. There were some changes that were made this year, so it's highly recommended that you take at least one programming course prior to the AP Computer course. That wasn't always the case, but we're now recommending that that really needs to be there before you take that class. It teaches computational thinking, and the end of the course exam consists of 2 parts. There's 2 performance tasks, and then there's the multiple choice exam. So outside of social studies and science and English, there is one AP class that's found in the business classes. And then mathematics, let me tell you a little bit about mathematics as well. Mathematics is rather unique in the sense that it is very sequential. Students who are in geometry the following year would take Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 honors. From there, you would go into, all those students go back into pre-calculus, and from pre-calculus, you have the choice of an elective AP Calculus or AP Statistics. Most of the students that take AP Calculus are those that are bound for engineering, and those that take AP Statistics students are bound for all kinds of different directions. So that is very prescriptive in terms of what you would take your senior year. So students, you've got some time to think about that, and a lot of that will kind of be determined based upon which course you're currently in and where you're headed. So, all right, I'm going to turn it back over to Paul.
Yeah, I think with math, you're pretty well set already. 9th graders, you're either on the fast track in math, which allows you to take the calculus or the statistics. And if you're not on that fast track, you're just not going to get there, most likely. So, if you have questions about math, John Pufall is the math department chair, and you can give him a call, or his email is there, or you can call the school number and ask for John Pufall. All the phone numbers are there, the emails are there if you have other questions. So Scott and I will hang around. I don't know if Dawn's going to hang around here much longer, but we'll hang around for a few minutes if you have questions. So come on up front. Anybody have questions that you want to ask as a large group here? Probably best to just hang around and talk to us individually. Thank you very much. I want to talk to this group here for a little bit.